Many thanks for joining us at this time. Now, details of the news. Combined meeting of Northern State Governors Forum and Northern Traditional Rulers Council have extended their deepest sympathies to the victims of recent flood disaster in Maiduguri and other parts of the north, as well as to the families affected by the tragic tanker explosion in Jigawa State. The forum equally commiserates with other victims of terrorism, banditry and other criminal activities in the northern Nigeria at large, while reiterating their commitment to work with the federal government and relevant agencies to provide the necessary support and relief to those affected. They also expressed concern over the recent End Bad Governance protests, saying it was a wake-up call for all northern leaders. Youth restiveness was also a growing concern driven by illiteracy, poverty and lack of economic opportunities, which the young people are calling out for change. In his welcome address, Chairman Northern Governors Forum and Governor of Gombe State, Muhammadu Inuwayaya, calls on the forum not to lose sight of their shared responsibility to chart the way forward for a prosperous and forward-looking northern Nigeria.
Hardship faced by many Nigerians today is undeniable, and considering the north-south disparity in economic balance, it is even more pronounced in northern Nigeria. This calls for urgent intervention. It is essential that we as leaders adopt measures to alleviate the suffering, such as targeted social welfare programs, support for small and medium enterprises, and policies that attract investment to our states.
The Northern Governors Forum and the Northern Traditional Rulers Council will make their marks as effective platforms for addressing the security and developmental challenges confronting the North. We must all work together to realize our vision of a secured, peaceful and prosperous North. Let me use this opportunity to commend our dear President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for reinvigorating the war against terrorists, bandits, kidnappers and other criminal elements in the North.
Collaboration and coordination between the government, security agencies and local communities are therefore essential, especially with our traditional and religious leaders in fighting insecurity. We must continue to work together in a cohesive manner, leveraging each other's strengths and resources to achieve our common goal of a safer and more secure region. I therefore humbly urge all present here today to consider the importance of sustained support for the armed forces in their missions to bring lasting peace to northern Nigeria.
Excellencies, we are ready to go. Reach out to us every time. Our loyalty to the people we work for is 100%. So you don't give loyalty 99%. General, you know, you don't give loyalty 99%, you give 100%. If you are loyal 100%, good. If you are 99%, you are not loyal.
Now to other stories. Following the directives from the Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities in NASU and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities SANU to embark on an indefinite nationwide strike, the University of Ibadan branch has commenced the strike over unpaid 4 months without salaries, despite numerous memoranda of agreement since 2009. Speaking with journalists after their emergency Congress meeting held at University of Ibadan, members of both unions say they are joining the call by the national body. Chairman Non-Academic Staff Union NASU, Comrade Ogunlade Oluwafemi, and his counterpart from SANU, Comrade Abiodun Omishori, expressed disappointment and frustration, stating the numerous letters, meetings and protests have not yielded any results. They added that the unions have exhausted all avenues and the only option left is to go on strike. The labor leaders lamented the hardship their members are confronted with within the period of those years, that they have not been able to get their entitlement combined with the present day's reality.
The only thing that we have done in the circumstances is that we have not carried arms against government. So the only tool that we have at our disposal to actually press on our demand is to go on strike. If that is the only language that they understand, then we must use it, and that's exactly what is happening now. We must get our salaries. We work for it. Total strike. It is endless until it's an indefinite strike.
2009 agreement is meant to be renewed every 5 years, but up to this moment nothing is being done. So we are still in 2009, even in 2024. So all these are some out of many things that we have been agitating for, asking the government. Poor funding of the university, a lot of things, our with salary, earn allowance, 50 billion earn allowance, government did not do anything.
Now, to shed more light on the industrial action, we have Comrade Salam Abdul Sobor, who is the Vice President of SANU from Abeokuta, joining us live from Abeokuta. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Good evening and thank you for having me.
Okay, all right. So what, from your hand, would you say is the basis for the call of an indefinite strike by both SANU, NATSU and NAT of federal universities across Nigeria?
Well, let me say that the issues, just as has been reported, started from 2009, when we had an agreement in 2009, which, based on that agreement, ought to have been renewed every five years. And just as has been reported, when you are still living in 2009, in 2024, it begs a lot of questions. Now, arising from the 2009 agreement, there were a lot of allowances, there are a lot of responsibilities on the part of government with respect to the funding of universities, with respect to the management of the universities, with respect to governance of the universities, which have not been attended to, and also with respect to the welfare of our members, and also the renegotiation of that agreement. And in 2022, after a series of agitation, series of appeals with respect to addressing those concerns, just as has been reported, we have areas of almost 200 billion or areas of earned allowances being owed our members, but of which we had demanded that at least 50 billion of that areas should be paid our members in 2022. We also have the issues of IPPIS, which had also been affecting our members as at 2022. And these were the issues that led to the strike, and arising from that, government decided to withhold our salaries. You would recall that in early this year, the President of the Federal Republic had directed that the arrears of those salaries, withheld salaries, should be paid to our members. But as we speak, no such action has taken place. Rather, we have continued to receive demeaning responses on the part of government officials, this time around not on the part of the President of the Republic himself, but on the part of functionaries of government, the Minister of Education, the Minister of Finance, and what have you. Their lackadaisical attitude toward these issues have actually led us to a point where we have had to go on 1 week warning strike in February this year. And also, we also had to embark on national protest in May this year. So, as it were, all of these issues are what has led us now, arising from the fact that we have seen that government is intransigent with respect to this issue. So, we have decided to embark on a total strike, an indefinite strike, until when the issues are addressed.
Okay, all right. So whenever strike happens, people are always worried about the consequences that it would have on Nigeria's education system and human capital development if prolonged. But that apart, since the reason for going on strike in the first place was because of the no work, no pay clause that was invoked for the first time, is there not fear that that might also happen this time around, that the unions are going on strike?
Well, let me say that the no work, no pay that was implemented in 2022 has shown, by our decision to embark on this strike and by the support that we have received from our members, has shown that no work, no pay policy has failed. What it means is that the attempt by government to cow us, to dehumanize us, to enslave us, to make us people who cannot agitate, who cannot make demands, has failed. That is why our members have said, well, they denied us salaries before and we didn't die. So because of that, we can also, so we are not we are not dead. And as far as we are concerned, it goes to show that that policy itself has failed, and government should rethink its approach towards addressing industrial concerns in the university system. Part of it is for them to be preemptive. Part of them is for them to be proactive. Part of the ways by which government can ensure that there is industrial harmony is by them to ensure that they address the concerns of workers immediately they make agitations. We have been on this issue of our withheld salaries for close to about a year now without any response from any positive response from government. We have been on the issue of renegotiation of our 2009 agreement since 2012, and there has been no positive response. Yes, they have set up about 3 negotiation teams which on the part of government have repeatedly continued to fail. So for us, we believe that what has happened with respect to our defiance of the no work, no pay rule is that we are telling government that they need to rethink. They need to look for an alternative paradigm that can be able to change the dynamics of industrial relations in the university system, and not by cowing or attempting to cow university workers by using the no work, no pay rule. For us, it has failed. That is why we are back on strike.
Okay, all right, but because we know it is widely known that Nigeria is facing a tough time economically, and the defense of government has always been that there is not enough money. So now, how can NASU, SANU, and other unions that have gone on strike, how can they and the government negotiate mutually, also respecting the federal government say that they might not have enough money to cater to increasing wages and other demands of these unions?
Like I told you, before we embarked on strike, there were monetary and non-monetary demands. You're only asking a question with respect to the monetary demands. What happened to the non-monetary demands? What happened to the issues surrounding governance of the university system? What happened to the issues surrounding our career structure as university workers in the system? So as far as we are concerned, it is just a display of bad faith on the part of government. Their inability to be able to comprehend the challenges of the university system and be able to address them. Not everything is about money. Not everything is about money. And even when you are talking about the money, I want to tell you that as far as SANU and NASU are concerned, we are not strike hungry. But we require a table where we can be able to sit and negotiate. Has such a negotiation table been allowed to hold? No, there has not been any platform for such negotiation. So as far as we are concerned, we are not strike happy, we are not strike hungry people. Where people, you talked about Nigeria suffering. Are Nigerians not suffering? Nigeria is suffering, yes, but are Nigerians not suffering? Is it not Nigerians that make up Nigeria? So we are suffering. So, and that is why when you look at, I want to believe that apart from perhaps the health sector, the Nigerian educational system, particularly the university system, has been worst hit by the JAPA syndrome. And that's why we are saying that, look, government must be able to come to the table and negotiate in good faith. But what government has continued to do is to negotiate in bad faith. And it is this spirit of bad faith in negotiation that has led us to the point where we have had to go on strike. Like I said, we are not strike happy, we are not strike hungry. But the situation of things around us demand that we cannot continue to look while we are dehumanized in the workplace. We cannot continue to sit by while the university system continues to slide into abyss. As it is now, what is the ranking of our Nigerian universities worldwide? Times Higher Education Global Ranking, all other ranking institutions. Where do Nigeria institutions, where do they stand as far as their rankings? And these are the issues we keep continuing to put on the front burner, which government has continued to neglect. So for us, I want to say that Nigerians are not. Nigerian university workers are Nigerians. They are not from Ghana. They are not from Togo. They are not from Mali. They are Nigerians. And they are equally as hit as every other Nigerian, if not more hit, because of the demands of the environment in which we operate. If we are operating a 2009 salary structure in 2024, it calls for a lot of questions. So those are the issues. Like I said, again repeating, if you are operating a 2009 salary in 2024, I don't think the issue is about the inability of government to pay. It's about bad faith on the part of government. Thank you.
Oh, all right, we thank you so much for sharing your views with us on Galaxy TV. I'm sincerely hope for speedy resolution of this particular crisis. Thank you so much for sharing your views with us.
We sincerely hope too, and government should play its own part towards that.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's Comrade Salam Abdul Sobor, the Vice President of SANU from Abeokuta. Now, moving on to other stories. The hearing for the case of money laundering levied against the former governor of Central Bank, Godwin Emefiele, resumes at the Ikeja High Court on Monday. Prosecution witness PW1 was recalled and was subjected to another bout of cross-examination. The counsel to the first defendant, Godwin Emefiele, Barrister Olalekan Ojo-San, asked PW1 if there was any document for hundreds of thousands of dollars he claimed the former CBN governor spent through him to someone in Lagos, which he said he has no record because his boss Emefiele told him not to keep any record. PW1 has earlier told the court that he helped Emefiele to transport over $600,000 while working with CBN as senior supervisor. In continuation of the hearing, counsel to EFCC presented another witness, PW6 John, who said that he worked with Emefiele while in Zenith Bank and was moved to CBN by Emefiele as secretary in the office of the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria. John testified helping Emefiele to deal several times with the three companies of the radar of EFCC, Limelight, Dimensional Service Limited, Armstrong Resources and Comet. The hearing, which started around 11 a.m., was adjourned by Justice Raman Oshodi. The hearing will continue on Wednesday, 30th of October this month. The Ogun State government is set to screen 350,000 residents across its 20 local government areas to address the rising incidence of death from hypertension and diabetes. Dr. Koka, who made this announcement during a press conference in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, said the initiative is the country's response to the urgent need for action to curb the growing prevalence of hypertension and diabetes among Nigerians. Dr. Koka noted that the initiative, according to the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Koka, is in line with Project 10 Million, Know Your Number, Control Your Number, initiated by health commissioners from the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, which was endorsed by the Nigeria Governors Forum. It is set to run from October 28 to November 3, 2024. She added that the campaign also aims to enhance public awareness around NCDs, increase data collection to inform health policies, and supports the creation of hypertension and diabetes register in Ogun State and across Nigeria.
Sure that every resident has the opportunity to know their number, take control of their health, and avert preventable non-communicable diseases, especially diabetes and hypertension. This campaign is not only about screening, it is about saving lives through preventative care. Our objective for Project 10 Million in Ogun State and across Nigeria are: 1. To screen a significant number of our residents for hypertension and diabetes during the campaign week.
You're still on to the news on Galaxy TV. Let's go on a break. When we come back, the news continues. Many thanks for staying with us. Now we move to the international desk for more news.
And welcome to the Foreign News. Bodies of 16 migrants and refugees have been recovered by Tunisia's Coast Guard of the country's eastern coast, the National Guard says. The latest migrant boat disaster in the Mediterranean. The bodies were found at the weekend, and the victims have not been identified because the bodies had decomposed. Samples have been taken to identify the bodies due to the extent of the decomposition, said Farid Ben, spokesman for the Munasir and Media Governance Public Prosecution. He said the bodies were found in 3 different areas in Mahdia, one of Tunisia's hotspots for irregular migration. Tunisia and neighboring Libya have become key departure points for migrants and refugees, often from other African countries, who risk perilous Mediterranean sea journeys in the hopes of better lives in Europe. Italy, whose Lampedusa island is only 150 kilometers from Tunisia, is often the first port of call. Every year, tens of thousands of people attempt to make the crossing.
And that's it for now, but do join us at 9 p.m. for our prime time news. My name is Iribami Salako. See you then.